This is Mark, and Mark has been able to go in his marriage from a situation where his wife was telling him it's over, I don't love you anymore, I want a divorce and there's no hope, to having him tell her that she's in love with him, she wants to put a plan together for their future, and that he's now the man that she has always wanted him to be. And he did all of this in just 6 weeks. Is it even possible? You see, Mark had many problems in his marriage, as everybody does. The problem was they could never talk about those issues because Mark had failed to provide an adequate amount of emotional security to where his wife felt safe to talk. You see, every time that she tried to bring up a problem with him, it would start an argument. It would end in conflict. Eventually, his wife realized that any attempt at discussing the problem is going to end in a fight, so she stopped trying. And when she stopped trying to bring up the conversations because it never went well, then the problems just never got talked about and they got pushed down, and more problems got piled on top of each other till eventually she just couldn't take it anymore. But once Mark was able to realize that the lack of emotional security that his wife felt was the problem, and he was able to provide that for her, then she felt safe to talk to him. Then she felt safe to start talking about these problems, and the problems started to get resolved. Now, the second problem that Mark had was he really didn't understand what the problem was. Now, if you want to save your marriage, you have to understand what the problem really is before you can come up with a solution. To understand what the problem really is, Mark had to go back to the beginning of his marriage and understand that there were only two reasons why his wife said yes to sharing a life with him, and that was because she loved the way that he made her feel about herself, and the second reason was that she saw a future with Mark was brighter than a future without him. These are the two things that made her say yes to Mark and made her want to spend the rest of her life with him. Now, the fact that she's leaving, these two things have changed. She now hated the way that Mark made her feel, the things he said, the things he did. She didn't like the way that she felt around him. She didn't like the way that he interacted with her self-esteem and her self-confidence, and she just didn't like the way that she felt around Mark anymore. And the second thing was that she started to see that a future outside of him was a better option than a future with him. Now, once Mark understood that these were the two real issues within the relationship, he was able to go to work on the real problems and really start to focus on making her feel the way that she wants to feel, because who doesn't want to be around somebody that makes them feel great? Who doesn't want to be around somebody that makes them feel special, heard, understood, loved, needed? Who doesn't want to be around that? And the second thing was, once he realized that his wife saw that a future without him was better than a future with him, he was able to start to work on a compelling vision, on a compelling future that involved her, that brought them together. You see, Mark, like most people, when he first met his wife, they came together on shared ground, shared interests. And they thought that going through life together, seeing as they had so many common interests, was a better option than going it alone. And once Mark understood this, he was able to start recreating that vision. He was able to start working on what the problem was, which was she no longer shared a vision with him. Once he was able to present a vision to her and to communicate that a life with him was better than a life without him, then he started to see the situation turn around. Now, the third problem that Mark had was he thought he was doing what his wife was asking. She'd ask him to do something, and eventually he'd do it, and she'd still be mad at him, and he'd say, nothing I do works, nothing can make her happy. She complains that I don't take out the garbage, so I take it out, and she still complains. She complains that I don't pick up my socks off the floor, so I pick them up, and she still complains. The problem was that Mark was thinking that what she was asking for was the problem, and when he took the trash out, that would solve the problem. That wasn't the problem at all. Once Mark could understand that the impact of him not doing what his wife was asking was having a major impact on how she felt about herself. When she asked him to take the trash out and he didn't do it, it wasn't about the trash. She felt like he was ignoring her role in the relationship. She felt like he didn't respect her views and her opinions. She didn't feel like a partner in the relationship. She didn't feel like he cared about her and how she feels and what she wants. And the fact that Mark was taking the garbage out eventually and thinking that that's what she wanted, that didn't solve the problem. What she really wanted was to be heard. She wanted to be understood. She wanted to be valued and loved. And once Mark got that and he started to understand that it's not about doing what she asked, it's about making her feel loved. It's about respecting her wishes. Things really started to turn around quickly for Mark. Once she liked the way she felt again, she could see hope. Before, there was no hope for the relationship because she didn't even feel as though she could talk about the problems in the relationship. She had no emotional security. And even if she could talk about the problems, what did it matter to her, because they were going in two different directions? Mark gave her the emotional security to talk about the problems and gave her a reason to resolve these issues by giving her a shared vision. and he finally understood that what she really wanted was not the trash taken out, but she wanted to be loved, she wanted to be valued, she wanted to be appreciated. Once Mark got all these things, his relationship turned around. He still had a problem, he still needed to get back in the bedroom, and he still needed to increase the intimacy in the relationship. So if you want to know how he did that, watch this video right here.
Is for better marriage, to say thank you for helping my wife and I save our marriage. And you know, when I think of it, it scares me how close we were to getting a divorce, which I can see now would have been a huge mistake. So it turns out that we both wanted the same thing, we just didn't know how to communicate that. And sometimes it just takes an outside perspective and a few tools to make all the difference. So if you're struggling with your marriage, don't give up. You can quickly turn things around. This marriage recovery program will give you the skills you need to do that now.